Now, I decided I'll add in some supporting chapters on the subject that I'm going to talk concerning about today. And that's Ezekiel chapter 9-10, and Daniel, page 3, Daniel 6, 1-5, St. Matthew's chapter 4, verse 11. Now, I've read the heading of what I want to do, but the part that I want to discuss with you, which is centered on the charts behind me, is Daniel chapter 8, the knocking down of the trade center buildings here in the United States of America. How did all this begin? It's ancient history. Once Alexander the Great went through the earth, conquering and to conquer, uh, they began to destroy the head of nations, especially in the Middle East. Tear down the infrastructure of the nation, and then they move in and move out. And as the nation began to build again and become strong, they keep a watchful eye on there. Then they come back in and invade the nations again, slaughter many peoples in the nation. And once they become weak, then they move out from them. And if they do, when they notice them beginning to go get strong again, they come in and slaughter the leaders again, make them weak, and keep them at a disadvantage where they cannot grow into wisdom and have the knowledge. And the ministries of these regions become pure, and they don't preach the truth in order they fear that they're losing their life. Now, but this part here where God spoke of in Daniel chapter 11 about 4 dynasties would come there, which would be out of the Gentiles. And then he said, when the fourth one come, he will fight with Persia. But this is where we are today in Bible prophecy. Now, I decided to go to the support chapter because of what had transpired. The war in Afghanistan, it had gone on for about 8 years now. Ever since after the knocking down of the World Twin Tower Trade Center buildings in in the United States of America, the year 2001, September 11, 2001. But what is so fascinating about this whole episode is what the Trade Center was used for. Let's put it like this, and then I'm going to read a chapter to you, just show you something here that many minutes tonight overlook. You know, in the beginning, when God spoke to Abraham, he said, I'll bless you, Genesis chapter 12, I'll make your name great. I'll bless you and make your name great. I bless them that bless you and curse them that curse you. He said this, building a hedge around Abraham. When Isaac was born, God spoke to Isaac, confirming what he had said to Abraham, his father Abraham. When Jacob was born and he became the heritage of his father's legacy, he confirmed to Jacob what he had spoken to Isaac, his father, and Abraham, the father of Isaac. But the covenant was never made with Jacob because it was not complete. It was the making of the covenant because it had to be 3 mixtures, and the 3 mixtures had to be mixed in somewhat, which is spoken of Genesis chapter 15, 9-10, where it began at 1 male and 2 females, and the 2 females would have to come out of the Canaanites, and the other female would have to come out of the Gentiles. But the dominant male, who was supposed to be the seed in the pedigree of this kingdom, would have to come from Hebrew, out of the house of Shem, the second-born of Noah. Now, this is what happened. Jephthah's race was the mixed race people, part angel and part human, because they had the genetic traits of the angels. But what happened was, by God blessing Abraham and his seed, blessing them, they had nothing to want for. So this nation, in order for any nation on the earth to take that, they would have to be a deceitful people. Because they couldn't go in and destroy this people with a sword or nothing like that by any kind of war machine, because God had made them a promise that he would be their shield and buckler. When he spoke to Abraham, I believe in the first part of Genesis chapter 15, either the last part, chapter 14 and 15 Genesis, read that part, he told Abraham that he would be his shield and buckler after he had went and rescued his nephew Lot. Well, there was no way that the enemy could come in and do anything to this family. But that's the reason I decided I would take and use a part of Daniel chapter 6 for that part, and Daniel chapter 3, because we have to compare a genetic trace of people's organization here on earth with what transpired in Daniel chapter 3, and match them up so we can know we are speaking of the same subject or subjects. Now, I want to tell you something about the Trade Center building. I want to read first, go to Daniel, and I want to show you a part here. I mentioned you won't consider this, but I want to just show you this. Let me see, Daniel 12, 19, 99. Daniel chapter 6. Let me go to you. Okay. And then, other words, even all the time that Alexander the Great was coming in there, they knew that they couldn't defeat these nations that under the umbrella of God. Let me read chapter 6, first verse. I'm going to verse 5. Chapter 6. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, as if he had defeated the Chaldees, which should be over the whole kingdom, and over these three presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the prince might give account unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the president and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him. And the king thought to set him over the whole realm. Then the president and princes sought to find accusation against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could not find none accusation nor fault. Not fault, for as much as he was faithful, neither were there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, we shall not find any accusation against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. In other words, they couldn't find no faults, and this is where we are going today with this in the peoples in the Middle East. This transcends in the day. They can't find no fault for God.